Okay, let's see if we can try and put all of that information that I just spoke about in the video 1 into some kind of context. Again, this is theoretical kind of information, and we are trying to figure out, okay, how can we integrate this to become part of our physicality, part of our everyday lives, and part of the way that we are doing energy work. And this is, again, a kind of extra layer to the basic energy work videos and what you were taught there, and not just working with your body, but also working with your food, since food will become part of your body as you eat it. So this is the idea of learning to transform a foreign element into being in alignment with your biochemistry and your energetic settings, and by that apply the best nutrition to your body. And nutrition is not about food, it's not about hunger, it's not about desire, all the things that you've been taught to make you eat food. That's the programs. Because those of us who have a slight remembrance of the original Pleiadian programs that are all about nature and transformation of energy, we kind of don't really feel like eating, just to put it as it is. But we are kind of doing it because we know it's important to us, not just because it's a program. I know there are many people out there that are breatharians and solarians and watarians, aquarians. Sorry about that. It was a little bit of a joke. But just trying to live by as little as possible. And here we're going in a different direction. We're going with the highest purity rate, which is what I put later on in the text material. But we touch ground with that both in the whole basic idea courses, as well as in the extractions from the whole integration 5 course, which I have also put in here, the highest purity rate, just to recap it, and then just work with it within this context. So it's about the highest purity rate. That is also goes with our food, and that is why we need to look at food as energy, as a sort of energy transformation and energy and alignment, and at the same time also upholding our physicality in an energetic way that allows the body itself to do the transformation. So if you kind of eat food that you have not worked with energetically, you work with the food within the programs of the hijackers and what they have programmed food to be. And I'm here literally meaning what I'm saying, because those of you with eyes to see with, you will slowly but surely see out in nature there are quite large cubes above nature that are running the programs of nature and keeping it stuck in a steady state, not just the plasma crystals, as I talked about in the old world order programs that were a part of, technically these crystals were part of the original Pleiadian project. But as we got hijacked these 15,000 years ago, they took and added in cube technology from the third cycle, which are linked up to specific, that can be linked up to either crafts or parallel realities or different types of life forms, or keeping nature stuck in a certain program setting from where nature, the nutrition of nature, what it does to the human body is then completely controlled, and we are having the added in of the chemtrail sciences that are going on there, which is still something I'm working on. I know roughly what it's all about, what it can be used for, but to the core of it, it's a piece of alien technology which I have difficulty in penetrating, which means it's probably built on very little forms of holographic principles, since I can't penetrate it with my mind, or it is based upon sciences I'm unfamiliar with, and therefore I can't decode it. So this is again what we have in our template structure of knowledge. We can encounter and understand when we meet it. We can understand when we encounter it, almost intuitively. What we don't have coded in our template, because it's newer sciences or parallel system sciences and beyond what we have integrated of knowledge, well, then we can't decode it and we have to learn what it is. And that is typically done by either getting the right genetic information as if by some fluke or incident, or one of the ones that are doing the chemtrailing, one of the greys that are behind this, I know they're from Alpha Centauri, and I know it's not pro-human, but it is part of the genetic modification programs, and it's used for many other stuff, or levels of modification of our reality, including other races are using it to dim the sky, to block out the energies of the sun, and onward and so forth. So it can be used for many different functions, all depending on what is in the nanotechnology that is being dumped from the holographic planes, because these are not true planes. They are not humans flying these planes. These planes are drones. They look like planes in the sky, but they are drones, similar to the one, the Tic Tac video. It looks like a Tic Tac kind of thing. It's a drone kind of thing. It's a completely artificial. So it's not done by humans. No humans know this. There are, of course, the secret weather programs that pilots are unaware of, and that is part of implemented by what we could call more the secret societies. And this is base program humans that are doing stupid stuff, and they are also putting something in there, as I have put in some of the videos under the whole project online library, solar radiation management. This is where they talked about it, and weather modification has been done on our planet since the 40s. So there's absolutely nothing new there. This is just kind of one of the things that are not coming out in the open. One of the more, when we have all of these private contractors that think they are doing the right thing, but they really don't know the planetary dynamics, and by that they're causing more harm than good. But sorry about, just went through the whole kind of with the chemtrails. So anyway, so if I am to understand the chemtrails and what they are and the technologies and the sciences and what have you, well, then one of the Alpha Centauri should decide to jump ship and turn around and give me the genetic modification from where I would be able to completely penetrate these technologies, and by that actually be able to operate them. Because all alien technology is biometrically engineered, which means that it has genetic and energetic affinity, and only the operator that is engineered for the technology can operate it, or has the type of genetics that are needed to run this type of technology. It all goes with this kind of sensory biometric touch, that if you have the right type of a genetic composition, you are able to run specific type of technologies. This is how they run the hierarchies in these alien systems that are attached to our world. Okay, so that was a whole other matter, but that's part of the level as well. That's what when I'm beginning to say, well, look at the fruit, what is the end game of working with the fruit? That is to be able to drive the original planetary technologies, just to put it that way. And there you will also understand that is why the fruit, and when you begin to work with the fruit, and when you begin to work with the ancient Pleiadian programs, you're beginning to border into that system, working with extraterrestrial type of technology. And once, if you have the ability to go so far, trust me, this is where your life will turn into a literal hell, as mine has, because this is where you become a real danger, because then you really go to war. So just be mindful that the moment you begin to work with energies outside your body, that is in food, and the moment you really begin to understand that food is part of the planetary grids, and by that you are also tapping into the racial grids to some extent, or at least the areas where the different planetary grids are positioned, and they exist in former or prior types of realities that went wrong and failed. You are then on a very dangerous mission. Just so you know, this is not without consequences, what I'm teaching you here. But it's part of the journey. It's part of the awakening process. So for me, it's just kind of, I am in between two chairs. I want to protect you, and I want to make sure you don't come in harm's way. And on the other chair, I know you have to go through it, and you might survive it or you might not, but this is part of the game. So this is what we are up against. You want to be freed? Okay, this is the price you pay. This is the teachings you have to go through. And this is the challenges that you will have to face up to. So if you are not for this type of boldness, and you have an enormous amount of fear in your body, go back, work with your emotional field, clear that one out, work with the different build up in the whole transition courses, transition science courses with the psyche as energy, as processes, keeping the balance and the advanced emotional field work, and thereby also work with the basic energy work videos, and then just focus on yourself and just keep it there. And then just be a plant fruitarian and do the very, very best you can to follow the new guidelines of what it means to be human on this planet, and that means to become plant fruitarian. Only align yourself with what we call businesses that are operating under the parole or the umbrella of sustainability, regenerative sciences, renewable forms of energies, long-term profit making, as in we are creating long-term value systems. We are not just doing this for profit. We're doing this to preserve our planet, to preserve what is left of humanity, and to give this planet some kind of future within a new global setting that will be run by extraterrestrial races. This is kind of, if you don't want to go the path I am cutting for you, where you will be beyond these security programs that will ensure some kind of mass of the human population will be pushed through the transition under these different extraterrestrial races and their systems and their fields and their technologies, and you will go with the original programs and transformation and learn to handle this on your own. Well, that's kind of the two chairs you're in between, or you can, the third chair is just kind of just let it all go and say, who cares, and then start eating meat, and then you're out of the game completely. You won't be part of the 10% that will be continued as under these control programs and inserted into the different hierarchies, be given specific types of genetics that will allow you to become part of their realities and what they're engineering, so their parallel systems can work and utilize the energies and the technologies and the genetic storages that are left on our planet. I'm here referring to the templates, which are now being separated from humans via what is going on our planet right now, lowering the energies in the human body to such a degree that the template itself disconnect and are returned to the storage unit, where it will then be taken over by the different races that are coming in. So that's the game we're in right now. So there's a lot of things at stake here. And of course, you can always say, well, these extraterrestrial races, are they interested in us doing this progression work? And this is, again, all depending on who and what you are and what faction you are under and what your faction currently are deciding. Are they collaborating with the new races? Are they collaborating with the old races? Are they collaborating with the third cycle races, the Atlantean factions, and what have you? And this all depends on who and what you are and what you will be challenged with. So there are no straight guidelines as in this is what's going to happen, or that is going to happen, or this is what you can determine. We are under what we can say a complex game right now, where it's not just about what we would like to do, but it's about what is possible to do. And at the same time, also in a triangle, again, these triangles, these trinities of information between what has failed, what is the old world order program and the whatever factions are left there, and then the incoming races. And when I talk about the failed programs, I'm talking about the new world order and the Atlantean projects that now has completely failed and are collapsing. And that is part of the templates that are being disconnected by the ones that are now succumbing to the underworld energies. And that is what we are seeing as different forms of viral diseases that are now running rampant on our planet. So this is the process that that's the first step we have to survive. And then in the long term, also knowing that in 5 years time, this information I'm giving you here will be part of determining your emplacement in the new extraterrestrial programs, if they see that as something they want to continue. But at the same time, the extraterrestrial races that are here are interested in a certain group of genetics. And if we can prove in some way or some form that we are not part of these types of genetics and actually belongs to a prior type of genetics, which they know are of a different value to a different system, and by that are under different laws, and eventually will be drawn there, they might just let us go. But again, we never know how the environment, it shifts and turns the culture of these races, who comes in, who goes out, who's there, how long they're there, and etc., etc. We never know, so we can't rely on someone else's goodwill or bad will or what have you. We'll just keep focus on what we need to do. And one of the things that we need to do is to change our perception of reality, because that is the key to this work that we are doing here. And this is where we have been working with the different types of fields in the body. We have the emotional field, the mental field, and the biofield. And here we're going to, when we work with nutrition, we're going to push that a step further, which is a little bit a kind of a trick, so to speak, because this is something I should put somewhere else. But you see, this is something, that understanding comes when you work with food, because then you shift your energy work from not just working with yourself, but beginning to work with an element, a piece of nature. And by that, you tap into reality programs. And by that, your perception of energy must change. And you as a person, as you shift your perception and perspective of energy and what you're working with, not just yourself and your bioform, which is part of the 1-7 pillar, you are then transforming into the 2-8 pillar and the 3-9 pillar, and therefore perception of energy and perception of reality and perception of how to work with the developmental programs that are running our reality then shift your energy system into not just being focused on your own continuation and your own dynamics, but turns you into, okay, what was this body originally created for before it was hijacked and re-engineered? So with the work and with the food, this little apple here or banana or what have you, it's not just about what you can read about on internet with the sustainability and the carbon footprint and all these kind of things. That's part of it. It goes without saying. Of course, you follow whatever's been giving out on the internet, and this is the right way to do if you are to become a full-blown vegan. Goes without saying. I don't have to put it in here. It's logical. Of course, you follow these guidelines. You do whatever you can to protect our environment within the base program. Of course, we are harmless beings. But when we go with what we're doing inside our little four walls in our own home, when we begin to work with food, we are then doing the double awareness. We are ensuring that on a base program level, we are following all of the guidelines that are being put out there now, without exception. Don't even debate it. If you're kind of, can't be bothered doing this whole kind of sorting my garbage, you sort your garbage, because this is part of the races that are coming in. You play the base program to the dot, as I've always told you. You don't skip any you don't cut corners, you don't skip any steps. This is us doing everything to perfection, no matter what level of reality we're working on. You're mastering the base program. As it shifts, you follow the guidelines of what you get of inner information. This is necessary. This is what you need to do. And you do it to the dot. Do not question these laws, because they're put there for a reason. And the extraterrestrial races that are coming in now, trying to preserve as much as they can of the third cycle type of energy, so we can applaud that or not applaud that. But as they try to do that, they are technically trying to uphold our world as it is now, while they are still doing the transition, because everything is breaking apart around us. So this is also where we are not taking battles that are unnecessary. This is where we really learn to work with the resources we have in the prudent and correct manner. And this goes with where we can say, I'll just keep the energy work to my body and to my food, because that is an extension of my body. And therefore, I'm not yet breaking any grand rules of the extraterrestrials. They are interested in you having a healthy body as well, because that is easier for them then to enable you to do the transition if you should be under their programs. Or if you're not under their programs, the highest purity rate is always something that everyone is on board with, which is why we have got all of these polluting type of foods and polluting types of environments to keep humans as little sensitive to energy as possible, because the highest purity rate with no alcohol, no cigarettes, no sweets as in kind of refined sugar. You can do that from time to time, but as little as possible. The more you get this, you will understand once you have eaten a piece of chocolate or something, and dark chocolate, because not milk chocolate, because you're vegan, right? You will discover that this kind of refined sugar generates cravings as well as parasites. So eventually you say, oh yeah, I love the sweets, I love this, I love that. And you will detect, well, the price you pay for this. It's good to challenge yourself in a way. So you kind of see how much do you have to eat before the parasites begin to grow, and how does it affect your body. And I'm here talking about energetic parasites. But again, how does this affect you, and what does it do to your body? These typical things that are put out there as luxury items for humans, so to speak, when they are in fact are all of them in some way create some kind of energetic parasitic link up. Alcohol does, refined sugar and alcohol have the same effect in the body, links you to astral planes that are connected to the underworld, etc. And all of these understandings, which, if you really observe what you eat and what it does to your body, you will detect this quite on your own. And by that, you will learn to look into, okay, what is healthy for me? What actually works with my body? And that means you have to do a lot of energy work with your food, as well as observe your food, as well as observe before you put it into your mouth, and what it does when it gets into your body. What does it do to your stomach area? What does it do to your transformation of energy system that is your torso and the entire intestines and the organs and the electrochemical glands, and how they process what you eat into either higher or lower forms of energy that will then create higher or lower forms of energy residuals or energy what you call elevations in your emotional field as well as in your mental fields, because we know what we eat, comes into our stomach is affecting the brain as well. We know that now. We have seen that with many of the, what we call the gluten intolerance kids and all of these ADHD kids that are going completely hyper if you give them high processed foods or sugar enriched foods and onward and so forth. They have taught us this is unhealthy, not just because they are suffering from quote unquote a different kind of electrochemical neurological patterns, but they are also, these kids are a part of this first experiments of the hybrid, really implemented hybrid programs where you use a nervous system from an android and implement into a human and try to see if you can create some kind of bioorganic version of the android central nervous system that links up to different types of alien technologies, which is why many of these kids are very always on their iPad or their iPhone or connected to some kind of screen interface system that constantly gives them the LED or the high level of pixel type of energy, the blue light type of energy that then controls your brain, their brain wave structure, and by that it's easier to control the central nervous system in these kids, and by that the electrochemical processes in the body. And this is again retinal induction programs, etc., which, for instance, you have the game Minecraft is engineered for these kids. It runs in squares. It does specific things to the brain when they constantly look at these squares and learn to observe reality in a square setting instead of in a round, more natural looking environment, which is an interesting game, but it alters the brainwave frequencies and allows these kids to work in a more mechanical way, if you want to put it that way. Okay. So, all of this information, but it goes with food, it goes with what we take in, because food is also what we take in of energy. So this is a symbolic representation of that, which we know from the spiritual teaching systems. And it also goes with nurturing, it goes with self-caring, and it goes with all of these psychological levels of it. If you want to go there, you can read, I think she's called Louise Hay, I think that was her name. She talked a lot about the symbolic representation of the things that we're doing of food and all these kind of things. And that was one of the books I kind of enjoyed, but I threw it out many years ago because it's American and it was a little bit over the top for me. And she was all religious and part of these, a Course of Miracle programs. And in the end, that was all about God. And you know me, I'm kind of, yeah, the ideas are good, but the foundation is rotten. So what's the point, right? So to go into this one, we are having, again, I'm giving you enormous amount of information and it's all over the place and it's not in order yet. And this is what we're doing with this course. I'm here just opening up the box and all of the information comes out in different order and it's not yet aligned because it's not completely integrated. So let us try and get some hold of this information with the new perception of our body as part of a planet. And we're here talking about energy transformation. Now we are beyond our own psychological structures and what we need to have with food. There's plenty of work out there. New Age is all about food and what food does to you and wellness and animal care and all of these ideologies. You want to tap into these. I don't have to go there. Here we'll look scientifically at the transition sciences. What will assist you in transforming your body? All of the other things are ethics. This goes with your psychological structure. This goes with your comfort zone, what makes you feel good and all these kind of things. We don't have to touch ground with this. We've been there already. This is about processes. This is about scientific processes. This is about the true work with energy without any value system, without any psychological hiccups, without any psychological hooks that we'll put onto because this suits our heart well and makes us feel like good people. Go beyond that. That's emotional field work. Out of that, focus on now the strict sciences of what we're dealing with here. And what we're dealing with here are a transformational system that our body technically is before it was hijacked. This Pleiadian Sirian type of project or body that we have, I'll go into that in the next video, were made to transform energy. And we have two systems in our body, two main systems. One is the brain field that goes with the brain itself and the central nervous system. That is to be transformed to run on radiation energies. And radiation is something that radiates out like the developmental programs that follows with the condor rays, that follows with the central sun and the core systems of the original LPU, as it were, before everything went south. Okay, so this is what our brain is supposed to do. Our brain is supposed to receive information from either a template or the developmental programs or the holographic teaching system, and then align it with our vibrational state of energy, which goes with our heart field, which goes with the connection of the timelines, which goes with the connection to the reality networks that we are part of and vibrate in alignment with, from where we will pull in energy and by that begin to transform it. And then the holographic teaching system will kick off and begin to give us the visions and the information we need to deal with that type of energy. Or we will draw on already existing knowledge hidden in our template, which will then be projected into our brain field, from where we will see how it works and what's the code systems and what to do with it. Or we will link up to the condor rays and developmental programs of the reality. Again, they are connected to holographic teaching systems, but this is a step higher where we'll get the really big picture, okay, of how to do this. Another trinity. Locally, holographic teaching system. Globally, the developmental programs, and in the big scheme of things, your own personal journey. Or you can say the own personal journey is the template level combined with the holographic teaching system, combined with the developmental programs. This is a trinity of learning that is connected to your brain system. And that is why it goes with the radiation. It radiates out. It creates a perception field. It creates an expansion field from where it can perceive information, but the vibrational state of your emotional field, which goes with the heart field and the peripheral nervous system and the electrochemical processes of your body, the wave systems, are supposed to create the oscillations that put energies in movement and draws it up to the surface, makes it go into activation, makes it go into the dynamics of being activated and surface. And then you can work with it through your brain system, and then you can transform it using the right technologies, using the right code systems from where you change the vibration of the things you're working with. This is transformation. You use vibration of your heart field, and this is the double hand position. This is where you use the sciences of the radiation field that goes in and merges with the vibration to give it different code systems. And this is technically what happens, okay? Then you have the biofield, which is the etheric field, which is part of the planetary grid, which is part of the racial grid, because your bioform, the original one, as Alice A. Bailey also teaches us, the etheric field or the code field is the true form of the human on this planet. And the outer exterior level, the organic body you have now with the molecules and the crystalline molecules and everything is lunar. That's lunar energy. It does not belong on our body. This is not our true form. This is what was re-engineered. This is how they made us smaller and diminished us. This is why it is an incarceration vessel, because it's made of lunar energies, and the lunar is foreign to our system. And that means that our natural solar form, which is still part of the code system of our biofield, it does not draw in the correct type of elements and the correct type of energies that creates the correct type of organic vessel. It draws in lunar energies. That's part of the hijacking. It draws in lunar energies, and by that, our organic vessel is lunar in composition. It is based upon electromagnetic frequencies and atomic matter, and that creates the incarceration vessel, because this is unnatural. This type of crystalline structure is unnatural to our original bioform. It is unnatural to the original density 1 energies, and it's unnatural to the original solar system humanities. This is the incarceration. So the physical form is the incarceration, but it is energy, and everything can be transformed. The reason why the lunar entity is the wrongful use of energy, and what they did and what they incorporated and what they aligned themselves with. And this is part of the very heavy level that goes with the root chakra, that goes with the root vortex, that goes with the racial grids and all the things that are stuck down there, which we in many ways should really not work with. And that is also what the Bailey material teaches us. But as with always, if you really want to do the transformation processes of your body and you have nailed the emotional field work, you will naturally get to that biofield level work with the code system, because that's connected to your brain and that's connected to the radiation field. And you will eventually get to these holographic levels of our reality and these programs and what is there. And you will be drawn there as an attempt to try and block you and stop you and frighten you off. So you will stop your inner work because it scares you to the shit out of you, right? So you'll just refrain from it and say, no, thank you, I'm good. So that is the last resort they have. And this is the valley of death in the inner work as you will walk through. And that is where most gets lost, and that's why I'm not recommending it. That's why I'm not teaching it, because once you get there, all you have with you will be what is stuck in your template and what you have developed yourself. And once you're ready to go there, you will go there. It will come naturally. It will surface once you're ready. As you know, the saying, when the student is ready, the teacher shows up. And this is part of what you must trust in your body. You work step by step in all of the good processes as I have taught you so far. And if you do get to the point where you walk through the doors into the valley of death, you will literally get a gate opening and you will see it. then you can always choose again to say, no, thank you, turn around and stop your energy work on that level and do something else. And just say, I'm not going there. I'm not going through the valley of death, even though you know that this is part of the work, but you might return to it later on, or you might refrain from it forever and never go there. There's no absolute that you have to do this. There's no absolutes in this. It is all your own free choice at this level of information. So now you also understand why it's not really part of the Bailey material other than hinted at here and there, why it's only been for the very few in the Freemason communities that have done this type of work. It demands a specific type of degree of consciousness and energy, ability to work with energy, and why it has only been the few of the ancient priesthoods within the secret societies that had the keys to these realms of existence, and they were only for the very few, and only the few that survived the wars that has been in our system, that survived the Cube Wars, that survived the Galactic Wars, that survived the Orion Wars, that survived the breaking down at Atlantis, because these people have this kind of what you could call an enormously strong energy system that is able to do a transformation on an extreme high level. So just know that if certain things begin to appear in your energy work and in your work with food, you can choose to, if you are working on a piece of fruit, don't know what kind of papaya, for instance. I'm not very fond of these exotic fruits. That's not really my thing because it's different culture, comes from different planetary grids, and it's not really part of my ancestry. But if you do papaya, some of you love that one. I think it's disgusting to look at. I think it looks weird, and whatever's in it looks weird. There are other these exotic fruits that have weird kind of skin. They have kind of hairs on them. You open up, they're full of weird colors, green, yellow, weird colors with weird things inside of them that looks like little ventricles or little kind of gel bubbles, something, and they might taste sweet, but for me it looks like some kind of alien creature that's ready to eat me. So I'm not doing this. Kind of the fruit tells me, don't eat me. You don't find me enticing, so don't eat me. So the fruit itself will tell you, even though it might taste sweet, but that sweetness, that fruit itself might actually be engineered for an animal and not for humans. But we kind of just going around and thinking everything that's eatable, we'll eat it. And if it tastes sweet, we'll eat it. But that doesn't mean it's healthy for us. But when you work with, exactly, if you kind of get these warnings and you're looking at it and everything in you just kind of turns away and repel it. Follow that repelling. Don't use your logical sense as, oh, it's just me. That's a whoosh. That's just me. I should do this or that, whatever. Don't do that. If you feel repelled by a piece of fruit or a piece of vegetable, don't eat it. It's your system telling you this is not good for you. You're not in alignment with that type of energy. Don't go with, oh, science tells me this is superfood, or someone tells me out there that this is good for my health, or what have you. Don't go with these programs. Go with what your intuition tells you. When you have the fruit in your hand or you look at it, do you feel this is good for you, or do you feel it's bad for you? And no, don't go with, oh, sugar feels good for me. That is a negative good. You need to go between the positive good and the negative good. Okay. So this is, remember your body is in what we could call fallen type of energy. This is the lunar energies, and they are crystallizing and they're going to decay, and they have this ability and they are literally prone to link up to energetic parasites. So if your body tells you, oh, I love this, this is nice, I need this, I crave this, that's the key word. If you crave it, anything you crave is parasitic influence. Everything that kind of makes you a little bit nuts is parasitic influence. Everything that kind of runs rampant in your mind, run like a wildfire, or I need to do this or what have you, is parasitic influence. So this is kind of how you work with the three fields. You have your original biofield that is clogged in lunar energies and is prone to parasitic creation. It is literally made that way. That's the programs. That is part of the struggle with the biofield. And at the same time, if you should manage to get through the LP of 2 level of the energetic parasitic level, or the 4th dimension, You will be plunged into the underworld because that's where they really can control your biofield energies, altering that one to go into the dark grids and the dark technologies and the fallen holographic features, which will then connect to your mind field, and by that begin to create what we call black snake type of technology or black hole type of technology that will then pull in more of third cycle creatures and technologies and what have you. And that if that happens, you are lost unless you're capable of really clearing this out. And this is also why when I work with some of you, I'll stop our work and say, nope, I see you have black light technology attached to you and you're not ready to deal with that yet. Trust me, I have been working with this in many different people, and the statistics right now are not good because those who succumb to the dark light technology, they succumbed in the Orion Wars. So they are a prisoner of war, and that's why they have these imprisonment type of technologies attached to them. And that demands a different type of consciousness. Plus, they already lost. You see where I'm going? It's difficult to undo something you already lost in a war that were run by high levels of consciousness with high levels of technologies, and that person already lost there, which is why I took in that template in the beginning of the Psyche's energy, where it went through one of the templates that were already lost. And you might have a bioform that is not lost, so to speak, and 3 lower fields that are doing what they need to do inside this world where the rest is sealed off. But if that level of the template is a goner, there's nothing we can do about it. We'll just have to. Again, the mantra, what we want to do is not always what's possible to do. Okay? Just remind yourself, this is not without consequence. And this is not just about, you wake up and everybody will be able to do the transformation. No, there's a reason why we're here. There's a reason why we are in this incarceration vessel, in this imprisonment system, in this hijacked production unit system that are trading off our genetics to other races. There is a fucking reason for that. And this is, sorry about me being a little bit high pitched in my tone there. But this is important to take that into consideration when we do the work with nutrition, because that is where you will put it the step further that will then lead you to the true understanding of who and what you are and the circumstances of why you are where you are and what led you to where you are now. And this all goes with that romanticized idea, oh yes, I used to be this or I used to be that. Yes, but that's not who you are now, is it? Okay, so I might as well say, well, I normally incarnate in England. Yeah, I'm not incarnating in England right now, am I? I'm incarnating in Denmark. How do I deal with that? How do I then make the most of what I've got now? How do I work with this body that's not my own because I'm a walk-in? How do I turn that into something useful? How do I work with that? How do I get rid of all of the energy fields that are not mine, that's not something I've chosen, something I've been put into, and clear that one out, including a personality structure that's not even my own, and then align myself with this body and make the most of it? Sorry about that. Again, it's all about this, what is possible and what is doable and what can we do? See things as they truly are. Don't fool yourself into believing you can do something that you clearly can't. Okay, so with that one said, I've just gone with a little bit overboard with the 4 foundational groups of energy in the body. And to put it there, the triangle holds 3 levels of development to improve in the interaction potentials affecting our fields. This is our biofield, vibrational field and radiation field, encapsulated by the energies of the sun. The sun is connected to the condor rays. It's connected to the core system programs. The central sun, the outer sun, should be the energizer of the different developmental programs that are running our solar system on the different planets. But it has been re-engineered, and therefore technically our sun is now running on different forms of frequency-based chemical processes, in kinetic processes, burning this off. But this is the transition of the sun as it sheds off this artificial outer shell that it has been, the original central sun energies and core developmental programs have been encapsulated into, or actually amalgamated into. The reengineering of the sun means that whatever's behind of the original sun will pull out in the 6th dimension, and the rest will just collapse and cease to exist. So that's the future of our sun, and science agrees with that one. It will burn out eventually and become a cold sun, and then our solar system will be a very, very cold place to be. But there will still be humans living here, because at that point they have learned to harness the 0-point energies, and therefore will be of no need of our sun. Okay, so I think I will do the rest of the page in video 3, just to keep the videos not too extensive and too long. And again, sorry about me being a little bit high-pitched and a little bit strong in my energy on this one. But it is important that you understand the moment you really begin to work with energies around you, you are stepping into a completely different game. And if you're not ready for that one, just do the basics that you need to do with the food. As I explained, just follow the guidelines of what is put into the base program, follow that to the dot, and then just do your psychological processes, because they are equally important. It's not about becoming a master of transformation of energy. If you succumb to the negativity and the dark fields and the dark energies and the what have you from the LPR3 grid, then there's no point in you doing this. If you succumb and you get turned over, then it's all lost, right? So better play safe, better do it correctly with what you already have achieved. Better stay there and play safe and do the psychological processes to the dot and work with your heart field and get the vibrational state as high as possible and as strong as possible before you begin to work with the biofield and the mental field and the deeper levels of transforming of energy. And with that warning given, you can definitely listen to the rest of the course. It's not that you cut it off and it will put you into a dire situation, because as with all levels of information, some levels of information, if you know it, well, there are consequences behind it. And then there are other levels that has to be put into motion. But if you're really uncertain, you feel, oh no, I'm not going to go there. This is where I freak out. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with what comes my way and what challenges that bears, because I'm already struggling with the base program and my life is it's very complicated already. Then just take a step back and just let this, the following courses go for a while and step back to the basics. Step back, do that one, nail that one, work with that, and do the 4 whole transition science courses up to the advanced work with the emotional field, and just focus on that one, because that's where you will only work with your own local environment and your own stuff. You will not go into the global settings. You will not go into the settings of society. You will not go into the destiny of our planet, and you'll not become part of the big transformation work that will ensure that a portion of humanity will continue into the next realms, or let go of being part of this realm altogether and cleaning up the mistakes of the past so that the original evolutionary cycles can continue. And it's okay. Better do good at what you're good at than trying to go somewhere and then fail and be completely taken over and possessed and eaten up by forces that will chew you up bit by bit until there's absolutely nothing left of you. Okay? So everything is fine. Do what you're good at and excel there. Focus on that. And then once you're ready, you will move on to the next steps. And then you will have the course material. That's all I'm saying. There's no pushing, and nobody should be pushed into something they're not ready to deal with, because that we know will then, the accumulated level of fear that will then spark to life will in itself be what we could call set in a vibrational mode that will repel these levels anyways. So there are natural dynamics that will see to that either you're ready to go there, or you will be halted and you will be occupied other places where you should put your attention. And with that, transform that level. And once you have then learned to master that, you can return to the more complicated levels. And with that one said, we are ending video 2. Thank you.